You know, on the Gee and Ursula Show, we talk a lot about remote work, and it is at the center of a growing showdown inside King County government. So Executive Gurmai Zahalai wants many employees back in the office 3 days a week starting June 1st. And his point is that it's going to improve service and accountability. But there are many workers who are saying they were hired as remote workers, others saying there's not even space for them to come back, and the unions are digging in. And one of the most vocal folks about ending remote work has been King County Councilmember Reagan Dunn. He's been pushing this for years, and he has even joked that he is now the most hated guy in the county government for it. And we thought it would be fun to have Councilmember Dunn join us now on the Gee and Ursula Show. Good morning.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Hey, it's been too long since we've had you on, but let's start with the core issue, first of all. Do you actually have data or evidence showing that county workers are less productive at home?
Yeah, we've seen some of the survey data coming back from our countywide surveys of employee satisfaction, and it took a very significant dip, believe it or not. Employee morale and satisfaction took a dip since the pandemic, which is interesting. But anecdotally on performance metrics, it's just not functioning the way it could. The lobbies of the various buildings are closed. Getting walk-up service to all of the various counters that we've historically had, for example, in the administration building, that lobby is not open. The access to government services is not working very well. And the reason why what I support is a hybrid work system, which is back 3 days a week. Why we want to do that is government is a lot of different stovepipes, right? And they don't communicate very well. And there's a lot of circumstances in government, particularly different than the private sector, that require that kind of close collaboration, the kinds of negotiating between agencies, collaboration, working together that we're not seeing when we have employees that are here maybe just 1 day a week.
Would there be any type of consideration? Because I'm assuming there's a lot of people that had their child care set up one way, they were hired remote, and so were there any like child care in their commute? Is there any kind of consideration for them?
Yeah, well, employee quality of life is really important to me. Our employees are valuable. They are respected. They are important for the work they do. But no employee at King County was hired with the understanding that remote work would be permanent. All of it was told to them that it would be temporary, and it was explained again and again that it would be a temporary solution. And we've been clear about that at the county council level for years. The issue is what we're asking for is for people to come back 3 days a week, can work remotely the other 2 days a week. So we have a more efficient and effective government. And when you see most of Americans working more than that, it seems like a reasonable request, given all the benefits, pensions, life insurance, incredible health care, that people, the swearing an oath to serve the public. It's not asking, I think, too much for 3 days a week. You saw that the Seattle School District just mandated its employees come back 5 days a week. That's one of the lead stories of the Seattle Times. So The question isn't 0 or 3. The question is 3 or 5. I think a reasonable place to land is 3. I hope that most people agree. But I will acknowledge there are administrative challenges to making that happen in the short term, which we have to work through for the best interests of our employees.
Council member, you all got enough room for everybody to come back?
No, in some cases we don't. So I proposed legislation that would go to the Labor Policy Committee of the King County Council. It was, this is back last year, there was no hearing, no vote on it. And what this piece of legislation would have done is required the administration department as well as our facilities management division to work with organized labor to best process the reintroduction of employees in circumstances where agencies had cut their office space to try and balance the budget. That is the most important first step. That legislation was buried. So what you're seeing right now is all the different cabinet departments in King County, 18,000 employees, 66 different collective bargaining units trying to sort of do this on their own. And that's why you're getting, I think, some justified concern about the implementation process.
This is King County Councilmember Reagan Dunn, one of the Republicans on the council. Are you surprised at the pushback that you're getting just to bring people back 3 days a week? You're not asking 5, you're asking for 3.
Well, I should point out that my wife is a King County employee, and she was a county employee long before we were ever married. But I'm not only the least popular guy in the King County courthouse, my wife is very mad at me right now. And so I'm not kidding. About a month ago, she went out of the house. She goes, "I guess I'm going into work." And she slammed the door. Like, there you go. Like, okay, so yeah, no, I'm not at all surprised about the pushback. People are fired up, right? You hear me, G? You hear what I'm saying on this?
Listen, man, I'm just letting you. Hey, man, when I tell you that me and you are so, and Ursula, we're so in agreement on this topic, it is just absolutely crazy. So here's my question, because it seems like your wife mad at you. You got some folks in King County, they mad at you, no doubt.
Yep.
There must be a reason that, forget the data. There must be a reason that you see something that is not getting done for the people as efficient as it used to be. Like, again, forget the stats. There must be something that you see and feel. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so it's just crickets in the building. I showed a reporter around the other day in the middle of the work week, and I believe the government can be something great. I believe we all swear an oath to do something that's bigger than ourselves here, and that is to serve people who need help, who maybe don't have the resources they need to get things done in some way or the other, that we can do wonderful things. And when I see a county that's still operating on 2020 pandemic rules, and I see the lack of energy, the lack of synergy, the lack of creativity that exists, and I see, the stats that tell me that morale is way down, we can be better. And let me just suggest that 3 days a week is not crazy. I mean, if you had the public vote on it, it's probably 85% support a hybrid 3-day-a-week work program. Many would say that doesn't go far enough. And I know we can do better. And I'm just asking county employees to recognize that your pension, if you get 60% of your highest 5 years for the rest of your life. So if you're making $180,000 a year, which a lot of county employees do make, you're going to have a $100,000 pension every year from the time you retire till you die. Like, I'm sorry. You got to come in 3 days a week, man. It's not too much to ask, I don't think.
Reagan, I want to be honest here and transparent. I'm also married to someone who works for King County government, so I'm fully aware of what is going on. Do managers currently have the tools to track productivity remotely, or is that part of the issue?
That is part of the issue. I mean, there's a lot of challenges with remote work. I mean, look, let's be honest. I mean, there's a lot of really good employees. I want to be clear. There's people that are just kicking butt and doing a great job. Then there's this middle group, and I'd probably fall into that group too, where you're working, but you're going to go mow the lawn in the middle of the day, and you might run to the grocery store. Okay, there's that group. Then there's this group of people that are just gaming the system. And I had a conversation with our executive department. They checked all the scans. You have to scan your card to get in any of the buildings. There were employees that hadn't scanned their card in any building for over 4 years. So yeah, the metrics can be there and should be installed as part of this implementation process to make sure that productivity is in fact increasing.
You mentioned the Seattle Public Schools today announcing they're bringing all of their still hybrid or remote workers back 5 days a week. A lot of companies are pulling workers back 5 days a week. Do you see government lagging behind the private sector? And the second part of it is why?
Yeah, I mean, look, the public employees unions, we have 66 bargaining units, are going to represent their employees' interests, their constituency. And they've been told, try and fight for a hybrid work system, and some might say 1 day a week, some might say 4 days a week. And so there's going to be pushback. And we always have to keep our labor partners, at least moderately satisfied as we move forward. And so that's different than the private sector where you can mandate some things. So it's more complex. One of the reasons why I've been pushing on this is because I don't want to see remote work or 1 day a week in the office work institutionalized in our 66 collective bargaining agreements. And that's why we need to move fairly quickly on it.
What's crazy? I just realized all three of us are married to somebody that works for the county.
There you go.
That's crazy. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
All three of us agree that they need to get back to work. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. But now, hold on. There's something that you did and said. I just realized something, bro. You're the first person to ever come on our show to ever point out the people gaming the system. Like, you really gonna be public enemy number one talking about that. And the fact that, hold on, did you get this right? That there were people that had not scanned their key card in 4 years?
Yep.
So why is it so hard to do something about that? That's the part that makes it just is mind-boggling to me. Why is it so hard to address those people?
One of the great management challenges that exist through all governments is that firing people is really hard. They're union protected. I've only seen like 2 people in a couple of decades fired from King County. It is challenging to do, even though it's quote unquote at will employment. And so I think that, we are a bloated government. We've doubled in 10 years our budget. The number of employees have gone up from 12,000 to 18,000 since the pandemic started, and most of those are working remotely. My view is that some of these employees, we ought to make generalized cuts. And then when you're doing, because of the budget, and when you're doing those kinds of cuts, which is more of a layoff kind of cut, you can get rid of some of these unproductive employees. But that is an important statistic. We ought to be looking at those key card usage. I think that's important.
Wait, you just mentioned something. You just said that what percentage of King County employees are working from home?
Well, I don't know. I wish I had the data on that, but it's.
Would you? Okay, if you rather not the folks that's out in the trenches, out in the field, they got to show up every single day.
I'd say roughly 40%, somewhere in that range, give or take.
In your opinion, without looking at the data, do you think that this slows things down for the people, like permits and all that?
I'm utterly convinced that it's slowing our productivity down, and in a lot of different ways. Problem solving, direct constituent service, even things like Freedom of Information Act / public disclosure requests from the media. I've got a lot of media people saying we can't get access to the information as quickly as they used to. A lot of those challenges exist, and it's just overall performance, in my opinion, has slowed down a lot. And there's an energy here that, or lack thereof, it's crickets, that really bothers me. It's time to get back, at least hybrid. So I'm sensitive to that.
One more question for do you think that there's a reason why none of your colleagues will come out and speak the way that you do about this?
So this is the value of having sort of a minority perspective on any legislative body.
You say minority.
Yeah, when I say minority, I mean political minority. Political minority. I am the loyal opposition.
Yes.
Right? So,
yes.
And my political base is different. I mean, organized labor, while they've been supportive of me in the past, they're not my key constituency, and mine is more the sort of taxpayers and those groups, and so I have the freedom to make these suggestions to improve, and in a way, I think I'm giving our new exec, Gurmai Zahalai, who I like very much. I think he's a great guy, a little bit of air cover here to implement a reasonable strategy. And if we were coordinating better, he could say, Reagan, why don't you go scream and yell 5 days a week like the city of Seattle, and I'll land on 3 and we'll get 3. Maybe we should play that.
He'll look good.
yeah, right. He looked great. He saved everything. We should do that, actually. But that's the kind of thing we're trying to do. Let's get it back to a reasonable place here. And then, in the future, for those of you who think it's not enough 3 days a week, we could dial it up to 4 at some point in time. I happen to think that's the max productivity range right there. It's what I do with my own staff in the office 4 days a week. But we got to find a solution here, and sitting around and avoiding it is not the way to solve it.
Oh, well, you make your staff come in 4 days a week?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
By the way, Ursula, before we leave this, I just got a text from my wife, and she's like, hold on. I go to work 5 days a week.
Yes.
So because it made it sound like she works from home. She does. She's in the office at Pierce County 5 days a week. So.
And there are many county employees. Yes.
Promotion.
Okay. Councilmember Dunn, I do want to ask you about one other thing, not having to do with remote work, but there is a vote this afternoon by the county council, I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this is a proposal from your colleague, Teresa Mosqueda, that would limit the use of county property for federal immigration enforcement activities. It would include clear restrictions, reporting requirements, enforcement steps for county agencies and the sheriff's office. What is your position on that?
I'll probably vote no, but I want to look at it one more time here at the council before I do that, just to be straight with you. I mean, I thought that Trump administration was way overboard in what they did in Minneapolis. I had broad disagreements with the way they handled that enforcement initiative. And so I can understand there's a reaction, but this county got just hammered in federal court by Dow Constantine and King County closing the airport, Boeing Field, to ICE deportation flights. And I'm not sure that this is legal. I think we're going to get sued. What if they come with a warrant? What if ICE comes with a warrant? So we'll see. But I'm sensitive to the issue, and I understand why Teresa is doing it.
But right now, you are a possible no vote.
Yeah, I'm a possible no vote. I was no in committee. I wanted to see some more, so we shall see.
Councilman Dunn, we sure appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Hopefully your wife is no longer upset with you.
I'm working on it every day, every day.
Appreciate your time. Thank you so much. I will say someone just texted in and said, I really find it insane because all three of us are landing on the same page. So I want to give an alternate voice here that you guys double down on this when study after study shows the vast majority of workers are more productive working from home.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
Gee didn't even let you answer that. Councilman.
I'm with Gee on that. I'm with Gee.
The thing is, Councilmember,
I think it depends on the job. I think it depends on the job and the roles and responsibilities.
People act like, hey, Mr. Dunn, they act like we don't live too. We know. We see it. You be at Costco at 1 o'clock in the daytime, you're like, man, it's crowded in here. Why is it so crowded at Costco?
Yeah, that's right. Well, get us back 3 days a week, and if you want to prove me that you're more productive 2 days a week, well, I'm willing to have that conversation.
Councilman Dunn, thank you.
Thank you. That was.
We're just talking about 3 days a week.
3 days.
Not 5 days, 3 days.
So, how dare you make me come to the office 3 days a week?